Hey everybody, welcome to the August 2017 edition of Civil Engineering Today. Today I've got Joe Allwarden with me. I gotta be straight with you guys. Joe is my manager, so I'm gonna be extra good today and on my best behavior. And Joe, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Reed. Happy to be here. Thank you.
So we are gonna talk about, this is a very, very cool project. You've been working on this for a while. It's really exciting. This is like a good piece of history moving forward. This is in Medford Square. This is the Cradock Bridge.
Yes.
So the history of this, it goes way back. Tell me a little bit of like this is an oldie.
Yeah, it is. This is the bridge that leads right out of Medford Square. And the history of the crossing goes back to the early 1700s, I believe. But the bridge that's out there now was first built in 1896, a two-span stone arch. And then widened and added to in 1907 and 1921. They built a dam upstream, right, touching the bridge, and then decked over it to widen the bridge. So it's got quite a bit of history and many different scenarios over the life of the bridge. So
a lot of the people that watch the show or see it later once we stream it up on YouTube and stuff. It's a lot of students, teachers are showing it to their students and stuff. And kids who don't know anything about what it takes to make a bridge, they just say, well, you just plunk the bridge up there. What's the big deal? You take out the old thing, you put in the new. It doesn't work like that.
No,
right?
It doesn't. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. The biggest, the actual bridge engineering itself might be almost the simplest part in a way, that solving the technical structural issues of the bridge. But like you said, it's not that easy to just plunk a new bridge down when you have aging infrastructure nowadays. Especially think about Medford Square. For those that are from the area will know the traffic is very high volume through there.
In fact, the bridge being missing for this time has been... Everybody's been pretty panicked.
Well, we were able to avoid or help mitigate traffic issues by putting a temporary bridge in, actually, in this case. But so you have to deal with keeping traffic moving. You can't just close, and actually there's a shot of the temporary bridge there. You can't just close the bridge to traffic for 6 months or even a day. Right. Because the traffic would be horrendous. So there's that issue,
And you're not in the country.
No. This is Medford Square. I don't know the traffic volumes off the top of my head, but they're very large traffic volumes going through there every day. Commuting time especially, but all throughout the day. Even then the businesses need to stay open and that kind of thing. So there's that, but then there's also a lot of utilities supported on the old bridge. So to get utilities across the bridge, historically they would put them on, across the river rather. You got to get them across the river, so the bridge is a logical place to put them. So there's basically every utility you could think of on this thing. So water, sewer, gas, electric, telecommunications, fiber optic, and copper wire. So some of those go back to the 1920s.
And you've got them all memorized, which means there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this process.
Some of them go back to 1921, actually, oil-filled, lead-encased copper wire that feeding a lot of Cambridge, MIT, and MBTA. So you can't interrupt that service, obviously. So, working around all that stuff.
And put it back?
Actually, in that case, the copper wire we're supporting in place and building around it, because you basically can't move it.
Right, it's got lead.
Or it takes way too long. You could do it, but there's 17,000 copper wires in the conduit.
In one conduit?
Yeah, well, in the group of conduit. There's 17,000 wires. So to splice it, the phone company was saying would take 18 months to move it. So it would have taken a year and a half of them camped out on the two manholes, relocating those wires, because they have to do them one at a time. They have to ping them, find the pair, and then move it, ping another one, find the pair. So
34,000 times. Yeah. Oh, 34,000, right, because both ends.
Right, exactly. So anyway, those are the kind of things we deal with on a bridge like this that's this old and in an urban location. So
the original bridge, there's an original old bridge just sitting there wedged in the middle. What is that? What is that
It's
bridge?
a two-span, I don't know if we have the picture, it's a two-span stone arch that's still visible on the downstream face. And actually...
Oh, that we're seeing it on the left-hand side over there.
Yeah, the left-hand side, that's actually when we exposed the face, the upstream face was buried in an old dam and a widening. And actually last year we exposed that face, which is kind of cool. That hadn't seen the light of day since 1921, but that's the stone arch face. The picture on the right is during the demolition of the dam in that area on that upstream side, and that was replaced to extend the shape of that arch to the upstream face. So
when they demolished the dam, there's already another dam downstream of that, right?
Yeah.
So this dam was just sort of
sitting there.
like you
It was
don't cut
basically
the dam,
walls.
this giant gush.
Right, exactly. That's true. The dam, there was a dam built in 1921 here, and I don't know if we can go back to maybe the first slide showed a picture of the upstream face, the old upstream face, but maybe another one back.
Oh no, I took out. Yep. Okay.
But that one on the left there. So that's what's left of the dam when we started this project. So there used to be an actual dam there, and what you see there are the cut-off walls for the dam, and there used to be gates in those areas, but there's no gates or anything. It's all free-flowing the way it was
So if
left.
you're a kayak now and you can pass underneath that thing, you'll be okay.
Yeah, except for those metal bars that
Right,
were in
doesn't
the
get
way.
you.
But there's the channel span. And then, so
kayak that likes to do limbo.
that was removed in 1979, the dam working pieces. So it's no longer functioning as a dam and hasn't been since 1979. But the pieces that supported the traffic are still there of the dam. Those walls you see on the left picture.
Yep.
The right picture actually does show the downstream face, the old stone arch built in 1896. And we found that that was in good enough condition that we could do some minor repairs on it and some cleanup, and that's strong enough to still support modern traffic. So we're leaving that in place.
The original turn of the century,
1896.
1896 structure, it had enough strength for the big trucks.
Yep. That's like the best part of the bridge in my view.
It's amazing because we just had a celebration for one in Ipswich a couple of years, or 2 years ago. The Chope Bridge in Ipswich was just 250 years old.
Yeah.
And that one, same thing. It's got, without any rehabilitation, these arch bridges, they're just, I guess it's because they just don't know what else to do. The more weight you put on it, the more it just
and they're made of granite, and there's not much that can go wrong with it from a deterioration standpoint, right? So it's pretty ancient technology going back to Roman times, the theories. So,
but your new bridge, so
we've
got an extra person that's going to be coming in a little bit.
Okay, good.
So Anna Christina's here.
Good.
So let's talk about the new structure you put in. So that original structure is sitting there in the middle, and you kept it, and all the newer stuff, which isn't all that new, came out.
Yes.
In the demolition, did it all go smooth? What did it take to tear that apart?
Yep, well, the first thing we had to do was move the traffic onto that temporary bridge that you saw. So 2 lanes of traffic go on the temporary bridge, and 2 lanes are still running on the existing bridge over the stone arch piece. And then we basically just chopped it apart and ripped it out. So there were steel beams and concrete in there. So the biggest thing was getting the traffic out of the way and some of the utilities relocated. So we had electric lines that had to be relocated and gas and water that had to be moved, and then we could demolish that piece. So
the temporary bridge looks kind of funky too.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, that's a prefabricated, meaning it's kind of a kit of parts that you purchase from a manufacturer to meet your span length requirements. So it was a pre-manufactured bridge that was laid out for the geometry of this site to take 2 lanes of traffic. And then we built some temporary foundations to support that, and then the contractor erected that bridge over the river. So
it's all just pieced and pegged together, right?
Yeah.
Just little
Yes.
little sections, and you stick the pegs in.
Yeah.
walk it together.
Yes, and some of that technology, I believe, came from like the Army Corps of Engineers during wartime, like World War II. Probably some of it even World War I developed the concepts for these bridges that could come in pieces and you quickly assemble them. That's kind of the basic concept of that kind of temporary bridge.
Yeah. If anybody wants to see an extreme one, go down to Quincy. That one in the Four River
Yes.
Bridge. It's got to be the biggest temporary
Yes.
bridge I've ever seen. Just a
And
monster.
quote unquote temporary. How many years
Temporary's
has
been a
that been there?
long time in the making.
Yeah.
Not that I want to jump onto that
right,
topic, but
right.
that bridge is coming along. Too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, yeah, that's how. So removing all that old stuff, and then we're putting new pieces back in. And you can actually see on the picture on the left is actually the new upstream face, what it looks like, just like last Friday.
So it's just like the
downstream face.
Right.
Right. So that's where that, if you remember those dam walls were. We removed all those and any bridge on top, and we put in actually a precast concrete arch sections, which are precast concrete, so cast in a plant and then shipped out to the site and put on the foundations with a crane. And that's what the two-span piece you see in the background on the left picture is, the two-span arch. And then on the face of it, upstream, we put a stone veneer to match the existing stone on the downstream face. So you get the style.
So when you come underneath, so if you were in a boat, well, actually, is this a good boating place? Do people come around here?
Small boats, kayaks and canoes, and there is a small yacht club upstream that has small motorboats too that do occasionally come through. But
not a huge river. At this
and I
point.
may have another shot of more of the overview of the upstream face. I don't remember which slide it was, but if we that shows kind of the view you would have more coming down the river. But there's still the channel span, which on the left picture there is in the foreground. That's still, it's like a 23-foot span channel, and that's really more conducive to boating because you have the clearance. So there you go. So those shots are a little further back.
Yep.
So on the right, just off the, a little bit shown on the left-hand picture is the channel span. So that's better for boating. It's about 23-foot span. And when we're done, that will have a little stone veneer on the top as well.
Is that still arch-shaped also?
No, it's totally a square, rectangular shape.
Oh, so you get much more room.
Yeah. So that's where traditionally, when the dam was there, that's where the locks were, and you could get boats through that channel span, even when the dam was there before. So
I mean, it was never an opening. It was never a movable bridge, right? It was
correct.
Always,
Correct.
You could only get so big a boat.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yep, and so it's basically when you look at that left picture, there's a two-span arch to match the existing, and then the single span to the right of the channel span. So it's really like three separate spans when we're all done.
Environmentally, did you have to do anything? What does it take to get even permission in the first place?
Yep.
What goes into something like this?
Yeah, well, the idea is to minimize your footprint. Meaning how much we disturb the bottom of the river and the wetlands. So this job actually wasn't too bad because we're pretty much staying in an old footprint, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. The bottom of it stays the same, it's just the top.
Yeah, and so these foundations, so there's some new foundations under like that middle pier, for instance, of the two-span stone arch. So what that comprises is drilled in mini piles, we call them, or micro piles, like 12-inch diameter piles are drilled down to bedrock, and that's what's under that foundation. But as you can imagine, it's not a huge area that we're disturbing of the river bottom.
Right,
by drilling
when you come in,
holes,
it just gets down to a little, it's an arch.
Yeah. So we're really only disturbing that piece in the middle. So. The other concern environmentally is with debris and stuff getting into the river. So there's precautions the contractor has to take with silt curtains and other things in the river, because you can't just be excavating concrete in the river and letting debris float downstream and that kind of thing. So there's restrictions on that. type of work too.
So this one, you totally planned it out. You drew the full plans before a contractor was on board.
Yes.
The good old-fashioned way to do it.
Yes. Design, bid, build. Yes. And it was many years in the making too.
How long does it take to make something like this? What year about did it all?
From planning all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, probably with our firm, we started on it in 2010. No, when did 2009? Yeah, actually, sorry, 2007, I think.
Whoa,
is probably
2007. That's
planning.
10 years.
Yeah, probably about 10 years. But that's, some planning, because you start with study of what makes the most sense for the replacement. Does it make sense to rip everything out and put a whole new structure in? Or we had to investigate, is that arch, can that be saved?
Right.
And what are those utilities? So there's a lot of exploration to find the history on the utilities and get surveying done. And so that includes those preliminary phases and cost estimating to come up with the best option for the replacement. So then you can go into actually designing the final pieces of your proposal.
Right, you don't even get to that for a while.
Right, right.
And the structural piece of it, that just sort of falls somewhere in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't want to belittle the structural piece, and that's a big part of it, but there's a lot of other parts besides just the structural design of the bridge itself. So,
Did you do anything? Is there any, thing that's like beautifying the area? Well, obviously, the face of the bridge.
Yeah.
What kind of thoughts went into that and matching like the character of?
Yeah, actually, that's a lot of the a big factor in this type of bridge too, which we didn't really talk about. Is the bridge itself was not on a historic register, listed historic, but it's in a kind of a historic area of Medford, and it's got a lot of history. Anyway,
I think you told me that this is, speaking of history.
Yeah,
Isn't this the from a song that everybody knows?
The Over the River and Through the Woods to Grandmother's House we go.
This is the
Over the River. Supposedly, this bridge is the Over the River piece. And I'm going to be bad. I guess my literary skills. I think it's Alcott is the. I'll probably get pinged for that. I don't know. But she was from Medford, so I think this is supposed to be that bridge. So and it's. So there's a lot of history there. So the stone veneer was one thing because that's an expense, right? So, but it's worth making that a statement to express the history that's been there in a nice way, in a way that expresses that well, and not just a Band-Aid or some kind of modern thing. That, so it's nice to do that. The other thing is this had a lot of stone. It had stone pilasters for the railings, and we're actually putting those back on the
same
bridge.
ones that were
on there, and we're actually putting some ornamental railing instead of just functional fencing to protect pedestrians from falling off into the river or whatever. We are using an ornamental pedestrian railing. We're also doing some ornamental lighting on the bridge, so to match the Medford Square
the rest of
lighting.
Downtown.
So there's going to be some cool light fixtures mounted on those pilasters actually on the bridge when we're done. So it's going to.
So it's getting really close, right? How long until how much more left?
Well, it's actually another whole season, believe it or not. So we got this because that upstream face that we've looked at, that's the side will be done this year. But they have to move over to the downstream side, and it's a little less work, but we're kind of cleaning up that existing arch face. We have to do the new sidewalk there and deal with some of the utilities on the other side. So we're going to shift traffic to the new piece we just finished and then work on the other half, basically. And then when that's done, then we have to take out that temporary bridge we were talking about.
Oh, right.
And then
That's going to keep on carrying traffic till the very end.
Clean up the site and stuff. So by the time all that's done, it'll be the end of next year.
End of next year, like November,
next
December?
Season, yeah, before the winter of 2018. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? It takes
yes.
The construction, so the design started 10 years ago, and the building, how long ago did that construction start?
2000. This is our second season, so it's been 2 years already. So it'll be 3 years.
That's
total.
not actually too bad. Though,
Yeah.
'cause so why does it have seasons? Like, how does it work? Does it skip seasons, or does it go year round?
It goes year round, what they can work on, but it's the winter here, because of the temperatures, is the problem. So they can't do certain activities during the winter. So they will keep working through the winter, actually, but there's certain things they can't do that slows them down a little bit,
Right,
like pouring concrete.
Which you need.
Right. So there's plenty of work they can do, but not necessarily everything through the winter. So
it sounds like when you're done fixing this one up, you got a new one that you're going to be working on.
Oh yeah.
It's
in Boston.
really early to
Yes.
talk about this one in
Right.
any depth, and we're saving that one for like years from now that we'll
Yes.
talk about it probably.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
what's the
That's
big one?
exciting. That's the Northern Avenue Bridge in Boston, right?
Yep.
That's goes from Boston to the Seaport District, or South Boston, right at the head of Fort Point Channel. So, yeah, that's going to be an exciting bridge. So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah,
right?
I'm very excited about that one. I
That's
think everybody is.
an existing truss bridge. That's a swing span movable bridge that the city would like to finally decide what's the best course of action for that location, because it's a beautiful location right at the head of Fort Point Channel.
Yeah,
And,
really important
It's really
piece
an
of the city,
opportunity to connect the seaport, which is exploding.
Yeah, the new with the old.
The new with the old, and it's a great opportunity to really make a great focal point in the city of Boston.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. That's going to be great.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's exciting. But
So we are running short
Okay.
on time.
Great.
But thanks, Joe. I got to make a couple of announcements before we finish up. This Sunday, we're going to be part of the Boston Society of Civil Engineers is going to have our Arch Bridge and some other stuff over at the West End Children's Festival. And then after that, we have registration already open for the Future City competition. Grades 6, 7, and 8. Any teachers out there, it's open to all of New England for us. It's an international competition, but we run it for New England. And you come up with your dream city of the future, and then you make a scale model of it, you make a 7-minute skit about it, you answer some questions about it, and you put a special focus on this year's theme, which is solving a problem that affects the older members of our community, putting 2 parts of your city in there that solve one specific problem that the elderly community might face, whether it's getting around in the city or health issues or even loneliness, any issue that they might face. Just go to www.engineeryourfuture.org for all kinds of things about our outreach program, and futurecity.org for everything about the Future City program. And Joe, thank you very much for being the guest, and everybody, we'll see you next month on Civil Engineering Today.
Thanks. My pleasure.